Well, welcome to this next episode of The Forge. My name's Quin Friberg. I'm excited today to be joined by City Council President Mark Aliff. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Hey, it's great to be here. I'm certainly glad you're doing these. This is nice.
Good. The goal is get people talking, get the conversation going. In Pueblo, I think there's a lot more need, and maybe we'll talk about this later. There's a lot more need for discussion, and whether you're on the same page or you're on different pages, you ought to talk about it. So, first question I have for you: you're on City Council. You were on City Council previously for 4 years, and then you were off for 4 years?
2 years.
Or 2 years, and then you're back on for another 4-year term.
Correct.
What motivated you to run originally this time? Is it the same motivation? What is it?
Well, originally, I was literally sitting at my kitchen table talking to my wife, reading the newspaper, and I was mad as heck and griping and moaning and groaning. And I literally looked at my wife and said, I'm going to run for city council because I'm tired of griping about it and not having a say-so in anything. So I just got up from my kitchen table, literally, and decided to run for city council because I wanted to serve my community. And there's always issues, I don't care who you are, that affect you and motivate you to move forward and try and affect change. And I think, for me, that was it. I tired of griping, do something about it.
Well, that's good. I think a lot of people, and you probably have them too, a lot of people come to me, I'm sure you get a lot of people go to you, and it's just a lot of, well, why doesn't someone do something about this? And I think we're just at a time in the culture where my only response is, why aren't you doing something about it?
Right.
Because typically what we are looking for are more people who are willing to step up and serve and do something in order to solve the problems that we're facing.
Yeah, one of the sayings I always tell the salespeople at my job is, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. You can't rely on everybody else to affect change or to move things in a direction that you may want them to run in. So, be a part of it. Be a part of the solution. One of the huge problems in society today is everybody wants to gripe about the way things are, but nobody really wants to step up and do anything about it.
Take responsibility for any of the problems.
Exactly. Yeah. And, it's pretty easy to criticize, and it's pretty easy to say that you would do it better, but you need to step up and do it.
To be a keyboard warrior.
Exactly.
And complain about other people who are actually stepping up to do things.
Right.
And again, we might get here later, but do you feel like there's a general apathy in the culture about being willing to do something, or do you think that's changing?
I think an interesting dynamic that's happened in just our city, because I'm a city councilor, so I'm going to stick to what's happening in the city.
Yep.
But an interesting dynamic in the city is when the media, such as the newspaper, got bought out, and the local coverage of politics has just almost diminished.
Yeah.
The TV media rarely pays attention to what's going on in the city. What happens is that people are disconnected now from what's happening within their city government or their county government. Yeah. And their state government, for that matter. Yeah. And does that create apathy because you don't know what's going on? I think the media did a good job, 10, 15, 20 years ago of saying, hey, this is coming up. This is a big issue. This is how we feel about it. The Chieftain used to run great editorials when Mr. Rawlings was in charge, challenging city government on many of their decisions or decisions that were coming. When you don't have that kind of rhetoric happening, then I think it's forced apathy on the community.
Yep. So people need to know more about what's happening in order to probably get motivated to do something. They don't even know what they could do or what's happening in order to respond.
Right. it's easy when you're reading a newspaper for 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the morning, but you can pick out, you're given a specific issue that is very, very important.
Yeah.
You can react to that and you can get involved. But if you don't know that's happening, it's just happening without your knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in order to be involved now, you really have to take a lot of time out of your life. If you want to watch city council meetings, I mean, obviously over the last year or so, they go till midnight.
There can be long ones, huh?
Midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
There can be long meetings.
Then you have to go and find agendas online, and I mean, it's really quite cumbersome to be involved.
Yeah.
And people live busy lives, and they really that's just not part of it.
Yeah. What's your role right now? You're president of city council.
Right.
What does that mean in terms of the role practically? What sets you apart then from another councilor? More administrative tasks?
Yeah. The president of city council, when there was a city manager, took a much more robust role. Under the strong mayor system, the president of city council literally just runs a meeting. Got it. But in either system, it makes no difference. All councilors are equal. There's
same voting power.
Yeah,
same.
I'm not in charge of any other councilor. We're all elected officials equally.
Yeah.
And so there's no power with the office of president.
Got it. When we look at Pueblo, obviously Pueblo has faced problems. They are still, we're still facing problems, but historically we've had a lot of problems. I think the first thing people think of when they think of what people want solved is crime. Where are things at? Are there any big things moving right now to try to address crime? Any efforts being developed right now?
Well, I think that the administration over the last 2 to 4 years has been very cognizant of making change. The current administration, we have the Real-Time Crime Center, which has come up where we're trying to use technology to help with the crime that's happening in the community. Literally, I believe our police force, our chief, do everything within their power to affect crime with the tools that they have.
Yeah.
Obviously, over the last 10 years, we've had a shortage of officers. That's still today. It's just very difficult to get back up to the 230 officers that we have budgeted. And those are issues that just need to be dealt with. I think personally, I'm a big advocate for the CSOs, the community service officers. I think they can take over a more investigative, write reports. A lot of the tasks that are taking officers off the street can be done by the community service officers. And I would like to see us fill that void with, a lot of community service officers rather than the few that we have.
Prioritize officers' times then.
Right. I think officers should be on the street fighting crime and getting rid of the bad guys, not tied down writing reports and investigating crash scenes and things like that. I think a lot of that can be done with proper training by community service officers. It's my understanding there's communities all across the country that are utilizing that same type of system and it's working. So I hope that continues to move forward and we get some good results from that.
Do you think there's any specific reason why crime feels higher in Pueblo than your average community? Do you think there's a specific tie-in? Like some people will suggest, like weed, drugs, those have increased the crime rates here. Do you think there's any one thing that is needing to be solved that would help, or is it more manpower?
Well, actually, probably the biggest detriment to crime not only in Pueblo but across the state, is the state legislation.
Got it.
The state legislature has enacted many what they call criminal justice reforms that do nothing but early release, no jail, write tickets. So the consequences for crime within Colorado have drastically been eliminated or reduced to the point where nobody really cares whether they get caught.
And the consequences for officers potentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I think there has to be a statewide movement on getting tough on crime again and reinstating some of the things that happen. Because quite honestly, a police officer is really limited in what they can do. Even if they arrest somebody and take them down to the jail and they're booked into the jail, the reform legislation immediately releases them.
Got it.
So judges, district attorneys, the police are really limited in what they can do.
And
now the community doesn't care about that. What the community
you.
Yeah, what the community cares about is that there's a lot of crime happening.
Correct.
And they don't want to hear excuses. And quite frankly, I'm with them on that. I don't want to hear excuses. But I do also understand the way that the way that it's affected this community is horrible.
The state's tied your hands in many ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
And our representation at the state level has been supportive of that, which is also very disturbing.
Man, do you know if there's anything Pueblo can do in the city or that the commissioners could do in the county to react against the state and to try to shield our area from some of that legislation, or does it just overrule?
It just overrules. I mean, the county is not a home rule county.
Correct.
The city is a home rule city.
But still,
when these are state level laws, you really can't do anything about it.
Okay.
It's going to take a huge effort, I think, at the ballot box.
Yes.
To change it. You have to change. You have to get away from this liberal mindset that is truly against criminal justice and replace the people that are making these decisions with other individuals.
You have to be tough on crime if you don't want more crime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Simple.
It seems pretty straightforward.
Right.
The problem is most people don't know it's really the state that's the major issue. And so they'll go blame the local police department, the local administration.
Correct.
Because they think it's their decision.
Yeah.
And they'll also blame, I've talked to, the DA, and their hands are tied too.
Absolutely.
In many ways on what they can do by the state. And so some people get upset at the DA's office, and they're doing everything they can within the limits the state sets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, they're just handcuffed.
Yes.
From doing anything.
Handcuff the officers.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So the other big thing going on right now then is the question of the administration for the city. It's the question of the mayor.
There's two big issues that are coming up to voters in November.
Okay.
That would be going back to city manager form of government and the 1% sales tax increase. So those are two big issues that the voters are going to have a say-so in.
So start with the mayor versus city manager topic. I read criticisms. I have my opinions, but I read criticisms online that this is a way for council to have no accountability. This is a way for council to have all the power, and then, and they treat it, and this is really, I guess, my first question, they treat it like it's one person who has all that power, which doesn't make sense to me. But how would you respond? Council's just trying to get all the power back.
I think that's interesting because I've been fortunate enough that I worked with a city manager and both mayors. City council never had ultimate power when there was a city manager. Obviously, under a strong mayor system, city council doesn't have have ultimate power. Literally, nothing really changes in the sense that city councils under a city manager form of government still can't hire or fire people, still can't tell a city manager to hire or fire somebody.
We'll give a contract to this person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those dynamics stay the same under either system. You know, the biggest issue for me is representative government. The reason that I got involved, not only because I was sick and tired of griping, is because I believed in the system of a representative government. So Pueblo has 4 districts.
City council districts,
and then they have 3 members at large.
Yes.
Those are elected by everybody within the city, right?
Yes.
And they all have different needs, all have different priorities. Everybody has what they want to get done.
Yes.
Under a city manager form of government, that representative form of government through city council has the ability to go to the city manager as a body and get things done relatively quickly and with support.
It becomes the priority of council.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Under a strong mayor form of government, really everything is just this one person's agenda, this one person's priorities.
And you're just the gatekeeper of money.
Exactly.
As city council.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, under both systems, that's what city council is, except under a city manager form of government, there seems to have been much more inclusion, much more collaboration and cohesiveness.
Well, I mean, obviously, that would be because the city manager is hired and appointed by council.
That's correct.
And so they have to learn and be able to get along with council and to represent council, generally speaking.
Right.
Is that fair?
That's very fair. And a strong mayor does not have to do that. I mean, you used to hear the previous mayor all the time say, well, if you don't like it, run for mayor. And then you can do something different. Yeah. So, you know, and I think that the strong mayor form of government has created a greater divide between the legislative and the executive branch than was ever there.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a function of strong mayor. I don't know if that's a function of the individuals that have been mayor.
Yeah.
But I know that there is a big divide. And, you know, to be fair, I think it's also a function of it could be a function of city council too. I mean, nobody's to blame here. It's just the dynamics of the system.
Which group works better together?
It's the dynamics of the system and how that works together. Okay. I mean, you can look at numbers. You know, I'm a big numbers guy. I really watch the budget and see what's going on there. Under a city manager form of government, I felt that we had better control over our budget process, and we had better decisions made in our budget process. It just made sense to me.
Yeah.
Not to mention the flow of information. I just keep going back to that. It's not unusual under a strong mayor form of government that things happen within the city that city council never hear about, unless it just comes up in a conversation somewhere. But under a city manager form of government, the representatives that you elected in all 4 of those districts and the councilors at large always were
involved in what
always
was going on.
Had the information.
Yeah.
So
it was a more single government versus two governments trying to function. Okay.
It was.
Now, you brought up the budget. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the 1% sales tax increase? Is it needed?
Well, I'm a true conservative. You know,
Okay.
I have never, ever supported a tax increase, never will support a tax increase like that. For me, it's literally between 2018, the last city manager budget, to 2025 through 2 mayors, income for the city has risen close to $50 million. Expenses have grown about $55 million, and we've not saved one dime. Because what happens in a political system is that there's a lot of growth. We hire more people. We give raises.
If you have more money, you get more stuff.
But do we get more stuff? Actually, almost all of the increases can be found in personnel expenses.
Yeah.
We've gone up 70-some employees, and our personnel budget has just gone out of control.
Necessary employees, or?
Well, I mean, that's the argument. The argument is that I always say Pueblo's the same size today that it was 40 years ago, but we're double the staff and so your city,
the ratio of city population to government staff
is
much
in
larger.
my opinion, it's just out of whack.
Okay.
And I think it's the biggest area where we can affect change. When there's not a plan to fix that, other than give us more money.
Correct.
Now you have a government out of control. We should be striving for smaller government, less money coming from us to fund that government, because we all know that if the money stays within the community and individuals, it works much better.
Helps the economy.
It helps everything.
Correct. Yeah.
So the issues come out that there's no plan to reduce our deficit. We'll probably run this year at a $14 to $20 million deficit. We're trying to cut some operating expenses and things like that, but that's a $2 to $4 million difference. So you're still going to end up with a $10 million deficiency, and no plan in place to fix it. If our only plan is to raise taxes, that's not a very good plan.
Correct.
Not to mention, you're going to take $26 million out of the economy to fund a government,
a bigger government
that has no plan.
Yeah.
So
you think eventually somebody or a group of people need to do the hard thing and reduce the government size?
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, and I think that every government, from the state to other cities along the Front Range, are facing the same issues. How they deal with them are all totally different, but the reality is that government has grown to a size that is just untenable.
Yes.
You can't continue
funding
that type of growth and put it on the back of the taxpayers to do that. I mean, we're out of money.
Yes.
Quite frankly.
Yeah.
I don't think
the sentiment recently has been, I have extra cash. Maybe the government needs it.
No.
Obviously, everybody's hurting right now. I have 6 kids. My food budget now, compared to 5 years ago, is double.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so much money. So I'm not looking to pay more money right now to the government.
No.
So somebody has to decide it's time to shrink the government to get us in the budget.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you need an entire city council, a mayor, everybody that agree that government needs to shrink.
Needs to be smaller.
And I think when that happens and government does shrink, then you have money to do the other things that are so important to the community.
Correct.
Let's remember that the 3 major functions of a government, and the whole reason that taxes were brought up in the first place, was for our protection, to keep us safe, with fire and police.
Fire, police.
To build the infrastructure. Roads and bridges. And to maintain our parks. That's what government. That's when, back in the day, when the community decided they're going to start paying taxes, that's how they were going to fund those things. It used to be when I was a kid, we had dirt roads. Mm-hmm. And if you wanted your road paved, you could get it paved, but everybody in the neighborhood had to pay
pool money
to get that paved.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't work real well, so that's when they started taxing to make those things happen. And now it's just out of control.
Yep.
And
they do a lot more than 3 things.
They do a lot more than 3.
They do way more than 3 things now.
And as a counselor, you have to try and look at those decisions when you're voting on things. Is this a function of government?
Yep.
What we're
Correct.
voting on? Is this one of the core issues of why you and I pay taxes? And a lot of times you have to say, I'm not going to support this because this simply is not a function of government.
Even if it's a nice thing to do.
Correct.
Even if it will help some people, that'll offend some people, but the goal of government isn't to solve everybody's problems.
Correct.
The goal of government is defined. And so the first question should be for any legislator or government official, is this our role?
Right.
And if it's not our role, don't do it. And hopefully at that point, that's where the nonprofit church community, that's where those groups should step up and start solving those problems, because that's, it's going to be more successful that way as well.
Right.
So before we're done, it would be difficult to go through an entire podcast and not talk about the biggest event politically that has been in our nation in a long time. I think that's fair. And that would be the assassination. What are your takes on the assassination? Obviously, you're against people being assassinated, but I mean, what are you coming away with? Where do we need to go? What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Well, it is just so all-consuming.
Yeah.
Anytime anybody is assassinated for their beliefs is just it's a gut punch.
Yeah.
And you just don't know how to react to that other than, you have anger, you have sorrow, you have every emotion that you can possibly conjure
It seemed like
up.
the whole nation, well, I shouldn't say the whole nation.
Right.
It seemed like most of the nation is going through like the steps of grief on
Yeah.
this thing.
I think that, the country is just in such a position now, and I think this should be a wake-up call to all of us that there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way than the way we're doing it. The social media attacks, quite frankly, if you ask me, and it's ironic because this is going to be on social media.
Yes.
But social media is just that avenue where people get indoctrinated and the hate is
radicalized.
The hate is just stoked to a fever pitch. And nobody's stepping in and saying, hey, maybe there's a different way to do this.
They're in their echo chamber chat rooms.
I tell this to a lot of people. I say, I really miss the day, no matter how we felt about any specific issue, that we could all sit around a table and discuss it and talk about our viewpoints.
And
argue about it.
Nobody was afraid.
Nobody was afraid.
Yeah.
And after we were done, we could go to dinner.
Yeah.
And we could go to a birthday party because we're still friends. We're still humans.
Yeah.
And it's just very disturbing that we've gotten away from that, because now it seems like if you're on the opposite side of the fence on any issue, somebody just wants you to die. They don't want you to go away. They don't want you to get recalled or unelected. Correct. They just want you to die.
Get shot.
Yeah. And I don't know how we got to that point. But if the Charlie Kirk assassination can do anything, can it just tell us that this is absolutely, unequivocally not the way
America's supposed to be?
Right?
Anywhere, but yes.
Anywhere. I mean, it's just not. Disagree, don't pay attention. But the violence part is very concerning. And it's very concerning from a local level all the way up. I mean,
Well, and I think one of the
decorum and civility from city council to the presidency is just gone.
yeah
There's just
hostility and
there's no respect. There's no but I think it's our job. My job as an elected official to always be humble, always be willing to listen to all sides of every issue, to be respectful, to give people the time of day. And I think if all of us in public office would start acting that way, it would get better. So my part is to do that, is to say, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to serve with humility, and I'm going to respect every single person and respect their ideas, because
even if you don't agree with their ideas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
They have every right to have those beliefs, and I'm not in any position to demonize what they do and how they do it.
Yeah.
So I think that that's what we need, and
more open dialogue.
And my part's just going to be a guy to do it. And hopefully somebody says, well, Mark Aliff, he never did that. He never acts that way. We should maybe act more like Mark Aliff.
Yeah, set an example.
Set an example and hope somebody that follows you.
And, I think the most disturbing part, obviously the assassination's disturbing, but the small number statistically, percent-wise, but seems like a lot of people still who celebrate it.
Yeah, that's just.
I think that's the main. That's the most concerning thing.
It's insanity.
Is how many people celebrate it.
Yeah, there's, so the humanity is gone.
Yeah.
There's no empathy for the other side, the other opinion, the other viewpoint. It's just that I'm glad you're dead.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're gone.
He attacked my ideas, so he should be dead now.
Correct.
Yeah. It's a different world.
Well, it's the most un-American thing that I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. There has to be something inside of you that says that's wrong.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be a part of this.
Well,
God convicts.
That's
God
right.
convicts in very powerful ways, and if you live apart from that, then this is what happens.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people right now, and we'll wrap it up. A lot of people right now are also motivated to do something, to step into the arena right now, to try to make a difference in our culture. To try to push back against what I think is the minority of people who would celebrate that type of a thing.
Right.
And so I think right now we have an opportunity to really set the example and to help people get more involved in how do we bring our culture back to a place and our country back to a place where it once was, at least as it relates to freedom of speech.
Correct.
And being able to exchange ideas.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. And so hopefully that's another great thing that can come out of this.
Yeah.
Is that it motivates, again, the people around their kitchen table to get involved, be a part of it. I mean, the only way you're going to affect change is to be a part of it. You cannot sit back and say, let them take care of it.
Someone else's responsibility.
Do it. I mean, be a part of it. I mean,
correct.
Call your city councilor, call your state legislator, call your United States senator or your congressman. Tell them how you feel. Get involved and be a part of it. Run for office. Help somebody run for office. Whatever it is.
Be part of it.
Be part of it.
Yeah.
And then I think you get a whole different perspective on what it takes to affect change and to make good things happen.
As we close here, I just have a quick announcement. We're actually going to have an event, Forging Pueblo. It's going to be at Praise Assembly, just for people to know. Praise Assembly on October 14th, which is the National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk. We're calling the event Pick Up the Mic. I think there are a lot of people who want to know, how do I practically step into this? How do I practically get involved? How do I practically make a difference and let my voice be heard? And so
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to let people know we are going to do that. 6 o'clock, October 14th, Praise Assembly. It's open to everybody. I think people could learn a lot and get more motivated with clear steps on how to get involved locally. Because that's where it starts, right?
That's where it starts.
Locally.
Right in your neighborhood. And it's probably the most important part.
Yeah.
That you need to be involved with, because this is where it affects you.
Correct.
You know.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mark Aliff.
Hey, thank
Pleasure
you for
to have
having
you.
me.
And we'll see you again soon.
All right. Thank you.